Hello, everybody, and welcome to We Are Texans Wednesday, number 14, here on Curtis's Podcast Network. I am Curtis Brown, and I want to thank you for joining me on this evening. We were originally supposed to have Drew Doherty, but something came up, and we're going to reschedule for a couple weeks. But in lieu of that, we're going to have a pretty decent show tonight. It's just going to be me, so we're going to be bouncing ideas off each other, predominantly me in the comments section, and you know let's see how it goes. I'm trying some new stuff out, as you can see, trying to, go live and actually have some production value behind it. So with that, let's see if I can get some of these things to function the way I want them to. That's too quiet. How's that? Is that messing with anybody? Trying to keep some background music in here. All right. Well, so like I said, number 14, I'd like to get everybody to like and subscribe wherever you're watching, however you're watching. Share it with any of your Texans friends or anybody who likes the Colts or the Titans or the Jags, because this channel offers something for every person that might cater to. We also come together every now and then. Each show has a host, and we all come together to do this AFC South show, and we'll do those more frequently when the regular season kicks off. But let's get into some Texans. Let's talk about some camp standouts, okay? Stingley's looked hot. Stingley has looked red hot. He's looked really good coming off of his injury. He had a mediocre season last year. I mean, he didn't allow a touchdown, which is good, but he did allow a lot of catches, and he did allow a lot of the yak on several plays. He got burned. You could say that is, scheming, not putting him in the right spot or whatever. And yes, to several degrees, it probably is true. You're the drummer. Oh, I'm usually the bass player, but and then everybody else kind of follows in suit musically. So the same thing kind of applies for corners, free and strong safeties. They kind of have to run a system that fits what the strengths are of you rather than individual. And that's why we brought in a lot of dudes over the offseason. Last year, we were covering this is currently Nico Ryans ran a 4-3, the same way that Smith ran 4-3. The problem is we're going from 10 to 2 now, which is one man coverage the next day. So while this should, in theory, be very good for Joe Derrick, it could be that some of the other guys are not quite the best. Desmond King needs to stay in the slot, absolutely. And I think that doesn't really change much regardless of what the scheme that he's in. But everybody else on the roster is Jalen Petrie and Jimmy Ward. Not that we're going to do Petrie. So that could be a ball hawk with Jimmy Ward to be the one stop and safety. That is a solid line. Can't say that's Jimmy Ward. He kind of really proven himself as far as speed and Anything better? Better at all? See if I can. All right. All right, cool. Yeah, just going to turn off the music. Why not? Turn up the volume a little bit. So did you guys hear anything? Real talk? Or was it mostly just kind of over the music? Okay, no, nothing. All right. All right, so here's the gist of it. The Houston Texans camp standouts. Derek Stingley looks good at camp. He is back healthy. He's looking like a good fit in D'Amico Ryan's system, which by and large runs more man, which does suit Derek Stingley. But my whole argument in episodes past has not been that Derek Stingley was ill. Like he was a predominantly man coverage guy at his best at LSU. But when you get drafted to a team where the scheme is zone, it's not necessarily about what the individual is good at, but what the group can do. Especially when you've got players that play positions that kind of have to build on other ones specifically. To use a music metaphor, usually the bass player is the one who sets the uh, the timing and everything for the music that's about to be played, and then the drummer follows, and then everybody else builds on from there. I'm not a doctor, but you get what I'm saying. So in football, the equivalent is everybody who's considered a DB. So safety or strong safety, free safety, and left and right corner. If all of the group is sufficient at on multiple levels at man or zone, um, then we're going to be predominantly running whatever the whole group can do the best. So Stingley was far and away the best zone or shit, the best man corner on the roster last year. However, everybody else was really much better in zone. Desmond King much better in slot as well, Tavier Thomas, but um, these guys now have a scheme that's going to flatter more of Derek Stingley and less of some of these other guys. I don't think Desmond King is going to be affected by this, but because he just needs to be in the slot. But Steven Nelson, um, insert another corner. We brought back Moreland and some scrub, Fabian Moreau or something. Regardless, I think we're going to see better things out of Stingley this year. I think it's going to be a system that's definitely suited to his strengths. I wonder about everybody else. I wonder if even on the front end, where the defensive edge or like the edge rushers and the defensive line are getting enough pressure to take some stress off of the back end. And I have a lot of questions of, the pass rushing prowess of everybody outside of Will Anderson and Malik Collins when healthy. Malik Collins actually got an extension. I don't know if I would have done that personally, not because he's not played well, but mostly because the guy is average. Like he does what you need him to do, but he doesn't do it exceptionally well all the time. And it's really hard to say that with most defensive linemen, but you can see when there's somebody who's a dominant force, and you can see somebody who occasionally, through technique and whatever, just pure strength or pure speed, can muster a phenomenal play every now and then. Malik Collins falls into the latter category. I mean, he's definitely not Aaron Donald. He's not any of those kind of guys. He's a step or two below that. I just think maybe that money could have been spent long term. finding another person, because it's not like Sheldon Rankins is a young spring chicken himself, and he's only on a 1-year deal as well. Or, well, he's only on a 1-year deal, I guess. But camp standouts. I keep seeing highlights of some pretty accurate balls coming from CJ Stroud, and that's what you want to see, minimum. I mean, he's going to be a rookie this year, and I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains because he goes from playing with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith and Jigba, two guys who are pretty good, probably both going to be first round draft picks unless something crazy happens. And he goes from that to Nico Collins, who is going into year 3 and has yet to have a season with more than 500 yards in it. Then you got Robert Woods, who also did not have 500 yards receiving last year. But you could argue that's because the Titans had Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill, and Joshua Dobbs back there slanging the rock for portions of the season. And you could also even say that there's, that's enough time to fully recover from his ACL surgery. But I don't know. And then you got John Mechie, who is coming back from leukemia and a torn ACL. And you hope that he's, able to, realistically, hopefully he's been able to be in some sort of shape throughout all of this. If he has been, then he's going to have a little bit of an easier time. Otherwise, he's going to have to be fighting all the way back from withering away. And I hope that's not the case. But then you draft Tank Dell, who presumably is wide receiver 4, at least if everybody's healthy day one. He's got some upside. He's 23, though. He's not the biggest guy. Definitely could be the punt or kick returner. But Xavier Hutchinson, I think he's 6'2", 210, something like that. He's a big guy. He's got some decent speed. He's not the fastest guy. He's not necessarily a downfield threat, but he can go over the middle and catch some competitive or some not competitive. What's the word I'm looking for here? Contested catches. He's an athlete, but he's not the best athlete on the field. And for me, the biggest question mark of all of them is Nico Collins. He has yet to stay healthy, and we're kind of hoping that he's going to be at minimum wide receiver 2 this season. And if he can't do that, we're going to have major issues. So I think there's a really solid chance that even well before the trade deadline, we could be hearing rumors about Nico Collins being cut and or traded. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Most of the time when you have a wide receiver, they usually show a little bit more than what he's shown by this point in his career. And I say usually, there are some outliers. I'm not aware of them at the moment, but I'm sure they have to exist. But I just don't trust Nico Collins to be available. I don't trust Robert Woods to be available. And I definitely don't trust Tank Dell, John Mechie, and Xavier Hutchinson, Steve Sims, or who's the other person I'm forgetting right now? Other person to have to step up and do that in a fulfilling way that actually is okay, thank God this works. Yeah, we do have a lot of cap to spend over the next couple seasons, Robert. Also, it's good to see you. How you doing? Profit audio shouts. Appreciate you, bro. I think we're supposed to have close to 100 million. That depends. I don't know what if that number is pre or post Malik Collins extension, And also we actually signed Will Anderson to a fully guaranteed contract, which is, dope for him. But that means that CJ Stroud is definitely also getting a fully guaranteed contract. So it's subject to change, TBD, but somewhere in the ballpark currently of $100 million. And yes, in theory, that could be used to overhaul a lot of positions. And that would be great if every single position that we went for was a homer. But I don't think it's going to be. We've made a lot of free agent acquisitions in the past. In the term or in the means of, did they work out in the long term? I mean, yeah, we could sign all of the free agent pass rushers, but the problem is I don't think they're going to do that. They got two young guys. Well, they got a young guy and they got Jonathan Gennard, who's on a prove it. I think this is his last year on his deal, his rookie deal. So this is definitely a prove it year for him as well. So, I mean, we're going to have some holes to fill, but I don't know if Will Horton from TCU got him in the 4th or 5th round. I don't know if the answer to that. We'll see. Time will tell, I guess. But Jerry Hughes is not going to be there long term. He's already 34 years old. I mean, it'd be cool if he stuck around until he's 40, but I'm not banking on it or nothing. But, and that brings me to the offensive line, actually. And then we'll go back to the defense here in a minute. Kenyon Green. What are Kenyon Green's realistic expectations for year 2? Because at the moment, you have Laramie Tunsil, who's freshly extended for another 3-4 years, whatever it was. You have Kenyon Green at left guard. You have Juice Scruggs, presumably, unless Jarrett Patterson is literally the second coming of Olin Kreutz or something, and nobody's talking about it. You got Shaq Mason at right guard, and you've got Titus Howard, who's coming off of a really strong season last year comparatively to his past outings. He is also in something of a prove it kind of thing. I think this season is the season he needs to have to actually solidify himself as a right tackle going forward, because at the moment he's still mid, which is better than, some of the interior offensive line play we've had over the past couple seasons. Immediately, I think even with just considering the rookies at center a question mark each, I think that's still an upgrade, because what we knew we had in Justin Britt and Scott Quesenberry was not a lot. Scott Quesenberry is still there, and he'll be the veteran ear to ask questions to. But, Shaq Mason is not going to be a problem. Played against the man, very strong, very smart. He's not the biggest human being in the world, but he's not a small guy. And he's one hell of a pass blocker. And that's something that they desperately needed, which is why they moved up to get Scruggs in the second. But then you look at Kenyon Green, who was outside of, what was that, the guy's name that played left tackle for the Titans last year after Lawan got hurt? Dennis Daly. Outside of Dennis Daly, Kenyon Green probably had the worst season as an offensive lineman in the NFL. Obviously, he's a rookie, and there's a lot of things that you can improve on when you're that young. He's going to need to improve on a lot of things. The bright side, it can't get any worse for this young man. He came out and hit the absolute floor, and now we've got to see if he can pick himself up, dedicate himself real hard, and make progress. I don't need him to come out here and be an all-pro. If last year he was in the doldrums of the NFL, come out here and play average and show me that you can keep improving. That makes our offensive line, in theory, we're looking at going from bottom 3 to, just outside of the top 15, maybe like 17, 18, something like that. which is a dramatic improvement, and that'll help Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary and and CJ Stroud, obviously. But a lot of things hinge on this D'Amico Ryans defense. I would say more things hinge on the D'Amico Ryans defense because last year there were times where Pep Hamilton actually got the offense to work, but the defense could not stop anything. I mean, they literally they couldn't stop Hunter Biden from just losing laptops. They couldn't stop um, Charlie Sheen from doing porn stars and hookers and cocaine. They're like, there's no shot, no shot. Um, and I feel like that's very, very likely to happen again this season. I think, in fact, it'll be more often than not the offense will be able to put up points and make games competitive. But I also worry that the defense will choke it all the way up, all the way, um, because I mean it's a very young core. We have like 4 dudes on each side of the ball that are probably over 30, just young as hell. Jimmy Ward, I think Denzel Perryman is 29, 28. So Sheldon Rankins, I think, is either 30. Shit. Steven Nelson. Damn. All right. We may not even have that many people. Oh, Jerry Hughes. Yeah, nah. Robert Woods. Young team is what I'm saying. Not a very old team. It's going to be a lot of growing pains this season. And I'm expecting as a legitimate, realistic 6-win season. It's the one that makes most sense to me. 6 wins, and it's definitely doubling your last season. But I don't know, man. There's hope, and I can see the sun coming up over the hill, but it's like stuck there. I need to see a lot more from this team this season, just to show me even just a little bit more of the hope. I don't need all of it, just a little bit. You know what I mean? All right, now let's wrap this show up the way we've been doing the last couple weeks with a little bit of Would You Rather. All right. All right, folks. Because I know a couple people in the chat out there are not necessarily Texans fans. Whom would you prefer your child be a fan of? The Houston Texans or the Indianapolis Colts? And while you guys are answering that, I'm going to come up with another one. What would you rather happen? What would you rather? Would you rather Nico Collins come out and prove that he can be a force in this league and come out and get 1,000 yards this season? Maybe like 70 catches? Or would you rather Xavier Hutchinson emerge as a rookie, getting maybe 700 or 800 yards on like 50 catches, which would be nuts considering he's like 6th on the depth chart right now. But what would you prefer out of those two things? I might actually travel to the Jags Texans game. I don't know for sure. I might have to coordinate that with Duval's finest, but we'll figure that out. Prophet says Texans. I respect it. You can't go neither, Robert. You got to pick one. You got to pick one. It's like a gun to your head situation. You're going to come in here with neither. Get out of here. All the way. Anyway, all right. Would you rather Hmm. Would you rather CJ Stroud get 4,000 yards on the season or Devin Singletary and Damian Pierce both go for 1,000 this season? You choose Nico? Explain yourself. Why Nico? Robert chooses Texans. I respect it. I respect that, Robert. All right. By the way, you guys like the new formatting now that I've actually got the microphone functioning appropriately? Anyway, would you rather Sheldon Rankins be worth every penny this season? Or would you rather or would you rather Jerry Hughes makes it to the playoffs with the Texans this season and then retires? That's kind of like a cherry on top. I know that's kind of a weird one. Yeah. See, I feel like Devin Singletary and DP going for 1,000 is awesome, but at the same time, that's nuts. Nobody wants that. Nobody really wants that to happen because that means that game is boring. Talking probably like 17-10. That makes sense, Robert. I don't know that a lot of that was Mills. Like, I get that Mills trash, but he steady targeted Nico when he was available, and he'd be dropping a lot of stuff. And I know that Mills is not, the guy in any sort of means, but I respect your take, though. I respect your take, sir. I would rather see Xavier Hutchinson do it so we can get rid of Nico and maybe get a draft pick for him, just personally. Robert says he hates the Titans first, then the Colts, then the Texans. I respect that. Third least hated. Third most hated. Sorry. I'll take that. At least we're in the top 3 and something this year. Anyway, look, didn't Andrew Luck do that? I thought Andrew Luck went for 4,000 and like 27 touchdowns or something. And then Justin Herbert came in and did like 4,500 and what was it, 28 or 29, 30 touchdowns, something like that. Regardless. I mean, I don't think that it's realistic for CJ Stroud to come out here and actually have anything to be like, this season is going to be a shining example of what the rest of my career is going to be like. I feel like comparatively, he's definitely downgrading in wide receivers. Yeah. Mills, I liked him too. Like, I was a champion of Mills for a while. I was banging the table, but he did throw high a lot. I think he threw high a lot because, I mean, he's probably just trying to take care of the ball. And a lot of those passes, there were several like in the Jaguars game last year in Jacksonville where he would throw it high and like Brandon Cooks would have both hands on the ball. and be bringing it down and then just drop it. And I've seen Nico do that. There's a lot of timing issues, and I think a lot of Mills over anticipating and over anticipating the rush, I should say. And I'm just trying to remember because I mean it's not like he wasn't seeing the field. It was just like, yeah, poor Herbert, R.I.P. Um, it's not like Mills was ever going to be the guy who like dots up a defense. He had flashes his rookie season because they had nobody. You know what I mean? Like when you have nobody, everyone's a weapon. And when everybody in your team's a weapon, it's essentially like playing, you have to play that team like they have nobody. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, because you can't cover everybody at once, or you can't cover everybody well at once. So you just got to treat them as if they're all the same player and fucking do your best. And that's basically what the defense has been doing for a while, and it's not been doing well. But all right. Would you rather CJ Stroud breaks the rookie touchdown record or Will Anderson Jr. breaks the rookie sack record, which I think was just shot or just set by Micah Parsons? Yeah, we'll see. Mike White, I can see him taking Tua's job just because Tua's going to be in concussion protocol for like half the year. Unfortunately. I feel like Mills could do significantly better if he had. I mean, he had what? This is going to be his third offensive coordinator in 3 years in the NFL. And because of that, I mean, look how that worked with Marcus Mariota, who had 5 offensive coordinators in 6 years in Tennessee. And they drafted him early as hell. I think he was like the second overall pick or something. So, I mean, it's hard to do that in the NFL. When you have a defensive coach, that means your coach is going to have to be somebody really good so that they can run the offense and do it well. So the defense isn't just getting carried by the defensive head coach. That's why Lovie Smith in the past brought in Mike Martz when he was with Chicago, of course. Yeah, CJ over Will Anderson. I just think I just fondly remember JJ Watt's time of just constantly knowing that even if the offense was garbage that day, that JJ Watt was going to get his. It was just something about that really worked for me. See, and Robert, what the fun part is they're bringing the 49ers to Mills. Put Mills on the 49ers and he would be like Purdy. They're bringing the 49ers aspect to Mills. They brought in the offensive coordinator or the passing game coordinator to be the OC here. And of course, D'Amico Ryans was their DC. Now he's our head coach. I think they even brought in one of the linebackers coaches to be the defensive coordinator. I cannot remember that. That may not be true. But there's a lot of that system that's going to be brought over to Houston. And now I think we're going to see that pretty much anybody can run this system. And yes, I think if you gave Mills the kind of weapons that young Purdy has, you would definitely see Mills being able to do some things and put together nice games. They also had one of the better offensive lines, even though at times it was patchwork, which is probably why Jimmy G got hurt. But let's see. I'm going to change this banner real quick. Let's see the Jag one. Yeah, Jags. Let me come back to the comment section. Nah, I think Casario does pretty good. I think now that we're looking at next year having the final round of the Deshaun Watson trade capital. At this point, I would just try to be having picks like that. I feel like there's enough players and free agents coming up, like in the draft and free agents, that we could be able to fill most things in a couple years. But even if you fill them with rookies or younger free agents, they still need to gel and they still need to hit their peak groove together. So that's going to take time. It's not like Tom Brady walked onto a team that hadn't been playing together for a minute. He did that. They had Drew Bledsoe. They were a team, a unit, and then he entered the fray. So they just picked up where they left off when they realized Tom could throw the ball. But think of another would you rather here. Let's make this one goofy. All right. All right. All right. Would you? I know he. I kind of forgot that Trent Baalke was even associated with the 49ers. But I think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have done a pretty fair job in the years since Baalke's left or whatever. With that being said, would you rather? All right. Would you rather camp in a national park legally, league wall, but at some point in the evening you get attacked by a black bear? Or would you rather go backpacking in the Amazon for 6 hours? I feel like if you backpack in the Amazon for 6 hours, you're going to get some sort of death sting by a bug and you're done. But you can definitely kill a black bear. Like, not with your bare hands, but like you could kill a black bear. See? Yeah, Robert gets it. Bear, I got guns. Yeah, I got a knife bigger than the bear's head. Just stab it right in there. Where's Crocodile Dundee when you need him? That's not a knife. This is a knife. That guy. Would you rather? I'm trying to think of somebody scrubtastic. Yeah, I think it's the bear all day. I feel like the Amazon, you just got 6 hours, no shot. Like there's literally no shot you come back. I mean, there's definitely a shot, but it depends on how deep you go, I guess. All right. Would you rather? All right. Would you rather? Would you rather your child not be a fan of your favorite teams, well, regardless of sport, or would you rather your child be a Dallas Cowboys fan? I'm not choosing the Cowboys fan. I would never do that to my child. That should be considered child abuse. You know what? That's a dumb one. I'm gonna rescind that. If you don't choose the first option. You're probably a communist, not a doctor. But there is a method here. It's definitely a sativa. Yeah, not a fan of my team. All the day. All day. All day. Cowboys are the devil. They're the Devils of Dallas. All right. Trying to divine another one here. Would you rather Dalton Schultz puts up 800 yards and 10 touchdowns, but then refuses to re-sign with the Texans? Or would you rather Sheldon Rankins put up 10 sacks and 70 tackles and still not want to re-sign? I'm going with Dalton Schultz because at least the tight end group can learn from it. I feel like the defensive tackle room is going to have to be completely scrapped in the next season or two. So this is really difficult to do it for your favorite things. Yeah. Rankins. Yeah, that defensive. I mean, look, I get it. That would, like, the Texans fan in me that's like, oh, thank God we got somebody we can stop run and, pass rush and take some pressure off the other defensive linemen. But it would hurt to see him leave. It would hurt so much. Well, Prophet, I want to thank you for engaging with me. Robert, thank you as always for coming and stopping by the channel to see how we're doing. And when you got like a loose hair, Jesus. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, folks. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We'd like to hit that monetization. You know what I mean? If at all possible. If it doesn't happen, it is what it is. But I'm going to make it happen because it is what it is. And let's see. We're on Twitter now. Curtis PD Network. We're on Instagram. It's probably just Curtis Podcast Network. I don't remember what it is. Probably Curtis PD Network if it's not that. Facebook. We're streaming live on Face page at this moment. We're streaming live on the Tweeter sphere at this moment and on YouTube. Yeah. All right. So, folks, again, thank you for being here. This has been We Are Texans Wednesday number 14. Folks, be good people.